Hi ECC friends, welcome back to my kitchen. Today I'm joined yet again by my little furry friend here. His name is Oliver. Oliver, can you say hello to the camera? Can you wave hello to the camera? Yeah, that's Ollie. Today we're going to do a little bit of a cooking project, but it's kind of more like a science experiment. So I really wanted to make baked apples, but guess what? I don't have all the ingredients. So I'm gonna call this a science experiment, a cooking experiment. And we're gonna see if it works. And maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But I think what's really important is that we try. And if we make a mistake, is that a big deal? Absolutely not. So I'm going to follow very loosely a recipe that I found. You can join with me. And I'll tell you kind of where I'm trying my own thing to see if I can create a baked apple recipe that I like that might not be what the recipe creator or the original cook had in mind. So my oven is preheating to 350 degrees and I am using a square pan that I've lined with foil and greased. I find that lining a pan with foil can make cleanup a little bit easier. I'm gonna take my apples. Now I've used 3 large apples. They're Macintosh apples. Use what you have at home. I chopped them up. I tried to make the size relatively uniform, but you can kind of experiment too with maybe slightly longer slices or super thin slices. If your child's 4 or 5, you might be able to cut these up yourself too. When I was in the TK classroom, we used to give our friends plastic knives and they could chop up the apples themselves. So if your adult at home says it's okay, maybe you could help chop the apples. So I'm gonna start, and let's see if I can get this in here without the apples falling on the floor. I'm going to start by scooping and pouring all of my apples into my baking dish. Okay, just like that. Now, some recipes might tell you to peel your apples, but I think that takes a little bit of time, a little too much time. So I decided not to peel my apples, but you do what you prefer. Some people might say that in the kitchen, I like to go rogue. That means I don't always follow the directions, but I try and I see what happens. There. Next, I'm gonna add a little bit of water. The directions say about 1.5 tablespoons. I'm just gonna kind of eyeball it. That means when I eyeball it, I just take my eyes and I kind of look at the dish and I add as much water as I think I might need. Again, this is an experiment. I'm gonna add a little bit of water, okay? Maybe a drop more. There we go. I'm gonna add a little bit of applesauce too. I think that might be a nice mixture. I'm thinking when this is warm and bubbly, it might be good with some yogurt or maybe some vanilla ice cream if you have it. So I'm just gonna spoon up a little bit of applesauce. And again, I'm kind of just testing it to see what I like. And I think Oliver loves how this smells. Ollie, get your nose out of there. He wishes he could be a taste tester, I think. I'm gonna scoot Ollie back so he gives us a little bit of space. I'll add a little bit more applesauce and we'll mix this right in here. So this is like a one dish wonder. I didn't have to even use a mixing bowl. The next thing I'm gonna do is add a little bit of cinnamon. The recipe calls for about 1 teaspoon. I'm just gonna eyeball it again. I'm just gonna kind of do what I think is right. I'm gonna do some cinnamon. Ollie, do you smell that cinnamon? It smells so sweet. I'm gonna add a little bit of ginger because I happen to have ginger at my house. So I'm gonna add a little bit of that. Just a little bit of ginger. If you were here to smell it, just like Oliver is, you would love what you're smelling. I'm gonna add a little bit of nutmeg. Just mixing that in. Oops. The next thing I'm going to add is some maple syrup. At home, you might have honey, you might have a little brown sugar, and I'm just gonna kind of mix a little bit in. Just as much as I want to try. Again, it's an experiment. And I'm going to give this a little mix. Kind of spread out the applesauce. Make sure that you get your syrup into all of the little nooks and crannies. Let's see. And I wonder if I should have tried this in a bigger baking dish. But the cool thing about an experiment is that I can always try it again at another time. but I have a feeling I'm gonna like this. Last ingredient, a little pinch of sea salt. Or actually, it's not really a pinch, it's kind of like a turn, because I'm gonna use this special little crank. Take a little bit of sea salt and sprinkle it on top. So, what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna pop this in the oven for about 30 minutes. I'm gonna cover it with foil. This is something your grown-up will have to help you with. And then, when 35 minutes is up, I'm going to take the foil off and let it bake for another 10 to 15. So when we come back, we will see if my experiment worked or if maybe I need to try again. Hi everyone, I'm back here again. It's Oliver and I. Ollie's doing a sniff test yet again of our baked apples. So I took a little taste of these off camera. And remember, this is a science experiment in the kitchen. I think they're really tasty. They're soft, but they still have a nice little bite to them with the peel on the outside. There's applesauce mixed in with lots of cinnamon and a little bit of maple syrup. I think these will be great over my oatmeal in the morning. I might add a little vanilla ice cream to them, as I mentioned before. You kind of got to play around with it. I will include a basic recipe in our kitchen table today for you to try this out as well. And remember, it's always okay to experiment in the kitchen. The worst thing that happens is maybe you don't like it, but hey, I was pleasantly surprised and I really enjoyed my baked apples. Thank you.